I've got two big stories you need to hear about in today's news broadcast. The first involves significant military escalation with the country of Venezuela. President Maduro called President Trump and begged for his life. And I'm going to share with you the real reason why America is doing a pressure campaign on Venezuela. The second involves a major Big Pharma cover-up, killing dozens of people, specifically children. Let's jump right in. In a bold escalation against President Nicolás Maduro, President Trump declared on Truth Social that the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela is closed in its entirety, warning airline pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers to steer clear of the area. The announcement, following U.S. strikes on suspected drug boats and an FAA alert on heightened military risk, has grounded international flights and revoked rights for 6 carriers. Venezuela slammed it as a colonist threat, violating their sovereignty, while Democrats like Chuck Schumer decry the unilateral move towards potential war amid a U.S. military buildup in the region. President Trump reportedly urged Nicolás Maduro to flee the country with his family before tensions get out of control and there is on-land incursion and escalation. Now, some Democrats and even a few Republicans took to social media or ran to the mainstream media to condemn President Trump, saying, "Who do you think you are, threatening Venezuela and shutting down their airspace?" Well, I can tell you it has happened, and the U.S. military is now on high alert in the region. Some say President Trump is bluffing, but President Nicolás Maduro knows he is not. Over the weekend, Nicolás Maduro called President Trump. Here's what happened. President Maduro reportedly called President Trump asking for sweeping amnesty for himself, his officials, and their families. And Trump shut it down fast, telling him to leave Venezuela voluntarily or face other options. The call included Secretary of State Marco Rubio and came days before the U.S. officially labeled Nicolás Maduro the leader of a foreign terrorist organization. Trump then ordered Venezuela's airspace effectively closed, warning airline pilots to stay out. And at Mar-a-Lago, he hinted ground operations could be next. The land is easier. That's going to start very soon. With U.S. assets moving through the Caribbean and flights over Venezuela dropping to zero, the pressure on Caracas is about as subtle as a bullhorn. That came from the Wall Street Journal. So Nicolás Maduro called President Trump begging for his life, saying, "Please, let me just get out of here." Now, since August, I've been telling you that Venezuela and China have been rigging American elections, as well as 72 other countries. Former Director of National Intelligence confirmed this on January 7th of 2021. But everyone was such in hysteria over January 6th that it got almost no attention. It's almost like they didn't want us to see that story and came up with an insurrection in order to bury it. But again, why would President Maduro suddenly be so scared of President Trump, offer him trillions of dollars in resources, and then beg for money and assistance to get out of Venezuela with his family and people? Because the truth is coming out. Now, I'll cover the Emerald Robinson investigative journalist deep dive later this week, but it looks as if Elon Musk played a crucial role in exposing this, which now makes sense why he said he knew that President Trump won before the American people, even before they have finished counting votes in Pennsylvania. Now, even Benny Johnson did a deep dive on this. He did an 18-minute video about how Elon Musk was involved in taking out this organization in Venezuela and China and also over in Serbia. Again, I'll do a greater deep dive on that. Okay, now, Alex Jones, he went into great detail on what is really going on. So I'm going to play that for you guys, and then we'll talk about it more.
See, you have a normal job. You're a normal person. You're around normal people. So you hear all this. I know new viewers, the hardcore audience understands it. But I understand a lot of the public hears this stuff and it just sounds like, really? Look around you. And of course, who are they? They're the globalists. They're BlackRock and the big banks behind it all, even China. And the CIA involved as well. Patrick Burns said he's right. And notice the CIA doesn't want Trump to go into Venezuela. They're saying Maduro will step down, just leave his security chief, his intelligence head in. He'll go to Switzerland or wherever, and he'll still be the boss. And the CIA will still honor the money. And Trump's like, no, I know that's funding the deep state. The Democrats don't want it cut off because Trump's got people like Michael Flynn, who used to, at the highest security levels, have access to everything and still does, who knows how it all works. You don't think Trump just showed up to send in troops and the rest of it into Panama? Their government said, sure, where would you help push out the Chicoms? You don't just think Trump just came up with all this on his own on the golf course, do you? So people are like, you've always been against these wars because the CIA was for all those. They're not for these. They don't want Mexico freed with real elections. They don't want Venezuela free with real elections. They don't want our flank secured. They don't want prosperity for Latin America. Again, Venezuela used to be per capita individuals until 30 years ago richer than the average American. The average income of Venezuela was one of the highest in the world. They ate their dogs a long time ago. You look at these countries and ask, why are they in such squalor? Why are they falling apart? It's not because their populations are brown. It's because they fell into tyranny. Look at the Russians. They're super smart and everything. They were living like dogs under the Soviet Union. In total, just horrible for most people because they lived under a tyranny. Mexico, incredibly wealthy with their resources and their culture. But they've never really had freedom. None of their independences were real. They had dictator after dictator. It's always been a fraud. It's always been a scam. And we're corrupt too. It's just we're not as corrupt as them. We're the best house in a bad neighborhood, and we're trying to clean house right now.
All right. He goes on talking about Venezuela, but what's really going on is George Soros, the CIA, China, they've all been working to undermine our elections, and it's now all coming out. Again, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on Emerald Robinson. She's been getting really incredible intel. Now, I want to go through the second story with you. This one has me absolutely furious because it involves children being killed by the COVID vaccine. Now, remember, I've told you guys, Pfizer offered me $30,000 to tell people to get the shot. I told them, get out of here. I'm not interested. I would never tell people to do that. Well, now it's coming out that people have been dying. Children have been dying. And Pfizer, Moderna, they're doing everything they can to cover it up. I want to go deep into that, but first, today's video sponsor. This powder does three things, but they'll charge you $10,000 for it. But the FDA finally approved it, and now they're screwed. 1, it releases stem cells from your bone marrow. 2, makes you 27% harder to kill. 3, it floods everything with nitric oxide. It's like going to the clinic and ordering the entire menu with stem cell therapy as a cherry on top, but it's chocolate and it costs a fraction of that. Check out Dr. Simon Mills, one of the top herbal medicine researchers in the world.
Dark chocolate is a medicine. End of. One of the best medicines around is 50 grams or 100 grams of 75% or more dark chocolate. Brain health as well, cardiovascular health. They do studies where they've put cocoa into volunteers, it means students usually, so young kids, and they were able to show changes in the blood flow within minutes, certainly within an hour of eating cocoa. Beneficial changes in your blood flow.
They call it the heart medicine.
Yeah, heart, circulation, brain, but it also, of course, we know it contains a few other beneficial stimulating effects, sort of similar to the effects with coffee, which incidentally, as I've already said, is a medicine as well. But cocoa and chocolate does have a uplifting effect, which is why we love it so.
That's right, dark chocolate. But here's where people get it wrong. The flavanol, which is the part that actually does anything, gets destroyed in the chocolate making process. Regular chocolate has 50 milligrams of dead flavanol, but Black Forest high flavanol cocoa powder has 1,200 milligrams of pharmaceutical extracted flavanol. Normally, you can't claim benefits in the supplement world, but the FDA itself signed off on this health claim, saying cocoa flavanol supports heart health and reduces cardiovascular risk. And trust me, I don't like the FDA, but the evidence was so strong, even they can't ignore it. Harvard studied 21,000 people and found the brain gets 8.6 seconds faster, blood flow improves 80%, heart 27% stronger. Rarely does the FDA give you this kind of data. Now, Black Forest takes the best cocoa, extracts the flavanol, and consecrates it, and it's made right here in the USA. And Black Forest just launched their biggest deal of the year. It's insane. Buy one, get one free on the entire store, plus get an extra free bottle of NMN. That's right. You get a bonus NMN bottle with the buy one, get one. Now, this only goes on for 48 hours. This is their Black Friday special, which so many of you bought that they've extended it further. Now, cocoa prices are about to go up, so this will probably not be this affordable in 2026. So go ahead and stock up right now for the next 48 hours. Okay, let me tell you about this first story because this is crazy. If you have children, if you've got grandchildren, nieces and nephews, you need to know about this. So during the Moderna trials, the clinical trials for the shots that they're now trying to force on children so that they can go to school, a child died literally within a very short period of time of getting their shot. They had a heart attack situation, and Moderna, they got this thing covered up. So now you've got Alex Berenson, who's an investigative journalist who's suing Twitter for illegally taking him off. He goes through and he shows how they ran this trial, and this child died, and then Moderna covered it up. Now, this story it's 2 years old, but it's just now barely leaking to the press. This is disgusting. We just had somebody in my old neighborhood, a young girl. She plays tennis. She's the epitome of health. And it's caught on camera. She goes out to her car. She holds her head and chest, and she falls to the ground, and she passes away. Everybody in our neighborhood is freaking out. Everybody is sad about the death of this child. It's disgusting. It's crazy. But it gets even worse than that. Look at this. Dr. Peter McCullough, the most published doctor in America, fatal pediatric COVID-19 mRNA myocarditis, published in 2021. They covered up the death of 10 people. 10 people that they know for a fact got the shot and then ends up dying. The FDA knows about this. They know that these 10 kids died. They know that it was almost all linked to their hearts. So they get injected. Look at this. Today is December 1st. This just came out a couple of days ago from the FDA. FDA raises hurdle for vaccines, faulting COVID shots for 10 kids' deaths. Myocarditis, all that. They've downplayed all of it. In fact, now Moderna and Pfizer, Big Pharma, they're paying people to put out articles saying that Americans' risk of heart attack goes down if you get the COVID shot. This is pure propaganda. This is pure lies. And to make it worse, this just came out. Look at this. This is over on Just the News with John Solomon. Pfizer buries data showing mRNA flu vaccine bombed in trial with elderly. Not much better under 65. I know a lot of my audience is over the age of 50, so pay attention to this part. If you have kids and grandkids, do not get them this shot. They literally, 11 kids have died that we know of, and they covered up all 11 of them. Now you've got Pfizer. 2 years ago, Pfizer anticipated that sales of its rebound-prone COVID-19 oral antiviral Plaxavid, which is $1,200, and fully approved mRNA vaccine would plummet. But the good news is the drug maker mixed that with the flu shot, and it went to stage 3 trials. Compared to the standard flu shot, the mRNA vaccine was associated with 6 times as many adverse events as infections prevented in adults under 65, and it outright failed in elderly people, associated with more deaths and both minor and serious injuries, including injection site, all the way down to kidney problems. If you are thinking about getting this shot or the COVID flu shot, the data that Pfizer has that they lied and buried is now coming out, and they're saying there's a 600% increase in people getting sick, having their hearts have problem, having their kidneys have problem, or dying. But is the mainstream media covering this? No. Because if a little guy like me was paid, what was offered rather, $30,000 for a 60-second promotion of the COVID shot, imagine how much money MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, and others are taking. There's no way they're ever going to show you this information. There's just no way that they're ever going to show that to you. Why on earth would they tell you that this new buried data shows a 600% increase in adverse events, including death, and then from injection site all the way up to kidney problems? This is why you guys follow my channel. I bring you guys the absolute truth on President Trump, what's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on in the world, and how Moderna and Pfizer and others at Big Pharma, Big Chemical, Big Oil, Big Agriculture, they're all working. Everything is driven by profits. It has nothing to do with you. All they care about is money. All right, that's my broadcast for today. I hope you guys found this helpful. I do not believe that America is about to go to war with Venezuela, but I believe Nicolás Maduro, who offered Trump trillions of dollars, I believe he knows the scam is up. The truth is about to come out. He is trying to get access to that oil. He's trying to turn Venezuela back towards America, because right now they're in bed with Iran and they're in bed in China. And Trump is trying to get Latin America back into the Western Hemisphere to keep all of us safe. We're also going to find out about the election rigging. And now you guys know that there is so much buried data from Pfizer and Moderna, it would make your head spin. All right, if you could, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.